welcome to On Today's Ride. I'm Kieran, and in this episode we're going to be climbing up and over the iconic and very beautiful Highman Pass. Not once, but 2 times. Okay, so we're back on the bike, back on the coast road. The sun's back. Well, for you guys, the sun hasn't gone away, as it were. Because in the last video it's sunny, and in this video it's sunny. But in between, it has been less sunny. It's quite a little bit gloomy over New Year. Threatened rain, but actually it didn't rain, so I shouldn't complain. But it was very windy, relatively cool, like 21, 22 degrees. It's just sort of very overcast. Anyway, so it's nice to have the sun back as we ride up Coast Road, heading for the Highman Pass. Okay, so what's the plan for today? The plan is we're going to ride up to Da Nang and get some breakfast. I haven't eaten yet. We're going to go and eat a particular favourite of mine called Ban Corn, and I'll explain what that is when we get there, if we get there, because for tennis, it's still the end of Tet here, still the end of Lunar New Year, and a lot of places are still closed, and they're sort of reluctantly opening up again. So hopefully we can find a Ban Corn Nong restaurant, and then we're going to go and ride the mighty Highman Pass. Well, it's not that mighty, but it's very, very pretty. And we're going to ride up from this side, from the south side, down the other side, the north face, and around the big lake there, around Langkoa, very pretty, and then back up the other side of Highman, and then descend the south side back into town, and then it should be time for lunch. But first, breakfast beckons. New bike rental scheme. Okay, there's the magic sign, Ban Corn Nong. Didn't know about this one. Okay, I think we'll go in here. Nice and busy, that's a good sign. So they're grilling the meat. Oh, let's catch her making the pancakes. So, fermented rice pancakes. Xin chào. And then rolled up, chopped up, and lots of good stuff put on them. So we'll order one of those and take a seat. Okay, Ban Corn is here. So we get the, they always put this VF sausage on, which I'm less keen on, but here are the rolls. So they're these. So Ban Corn literally means bun is like cake, but also means bread, and corn is like rolled. So they're sort of cake rolls or rolled cake. Doesn't really work in translation, but it's the fermented rice batter, steamed as we saw on the steamer, and then they put in some shallots and mushrooms and ground pork probably, and then cover it with nice crispy fried onions, and then we get nuk cham, which is fish sauce with chilies in, very nice, and of course some greens. So all in all, you take your bit of Ban Corn, dip it in the nuk cham. Oh yeah, it's the first dish I ever had in Vietnam, and it's always been a favourite. Em ơi, bao nhiêu chén? Bamoy. 30,000, so that's exactly £1.
First, a little bit of crazy city traffic. This junction's always particularly hairy.
See how we do it.
Secret in Vietnam is just to go for it, run in, push in. You can't hold back. No one will ever let you in. You just push in, and it's sort of like water. It kind of flows. Fellow cyclist. Had his earphones in, so I didn't speak to him. So up and over Dragon Bridge, Khao Rong. Now, get a nice view of it in this morning sun. You can see the next bridge down, Tan Thi Li, which is also very pretty, and then Han Bridge to the north. Okay, more dragons by Dragon Bridge, although these are temporary dragons for Tet. Okay, so we've crossed over the Han River, Song Han, over Dragon Bridge. So we've gone from beachside, as it's known, to city side. So Da Nang is basically divided north-south by the river, and then the sort of beachier, more holiday maker side is beachside to the east. Now we're into the city, so this is kind of the city centre, so it's still a nice part of town, and still quite touristy here as well. I've been known to stay city side. It feels a little bit less western, a little bit more Viet. But we'll cut through and then we'll get into some smaller roads, and then we'll pop out on the North Beach Road, and that will take us round to Hainan. Okay, past some ladies in their lovely ao dai, traditional dresses, past Cho Han Market, which got renovated a couple of years ago. It's still a bit of a touristy market, but all the markets are of interest here. And yeah, this is the back side of it. Yeah, so this has been painted as well. Much nicer. It's a lovely sort of Art Deco building. A lot of the markets are like Cho Tai Bin? No, Cho Ben Tan in Saigon, which is a fantastic 1930s Art Deco building. Every other shop a coffee shop. Kids love their coffee. We'll stop for coffee mid-ride somewhere, but for now I feel we need to get onto the mountain, get some climbing done. Okay, up to the coast, up to the North Beach Road. Lights green. Let's go, boys. Oh, this guy's turning right, so that's why. He actually had his indicator on. That's quite rare. A lot more beeping in Vietnam than Thailand. They can be quite impatient, drivers, to say the least. Okay, there in the distance, in the hazy distance, is the Haivan Pass, so it's a little bit hard to see. It's not cloudy out, but it is a bit hazy, so it might be a bit of mist, might be a bit of pollution. Who can say? This direction is Son Cha Peninsula, Monkey Mountain, as it's known, and I'll do another video on there because that's very beautiful, and there's lots of monkeys. But we're headed to the Haivan Pass, which is that gap in the mountains just where the clouds are. Now that's quite appropriate that it's cloudy, because Haivan in Viet means ocean cloud mountain, the mountain of the ocean clouds, and it is often cloudy up there because the moisture rising up from this sea, this ocean, which is, well, interesting again. What we would call, do we call it in English, the rest of the world call it the South China Sea? The Viets do not call it the South China Sea. They're not great friends with the Chinese. They call it the Bien Dong, the Eastern Sea, I think. So for them it's the Eastern Sea. Anyway, we've still got to ride a little bit around the peninsula, and then through the sort of dock area where they're building a new harbour, I believe, so there's a little bit of construction going on, more construction than usual, and then we'll get to the foot of the pass. Bring in the catch. Not huge fish, but tiddlers. And it's already being sold. You see the woman weighing it out. So out of the sea and into the pan. Okay, over the railway line, no train coming. Left to Saigon, right, all the way to Hanoi. Okay, on the final approach to the pass. Hills looming up, much higher than the pass. Mia Valley to the west. Over this lovely train bridge. We get a nice view out of the high van. Looks clear now from what I can see. There we go. The estuary from the Mia River out to sea, and we're heading up into Lemnar Hills. Okay, stats for the high van. It is not the hardest climb in the world. It's not the hardest climb in the area. However, it is the most iconic and one of the most beautiful mountain passes that I've done. It is about 9k long, so it's not super long. It is about 5.5 to 6k percent, so it's not super steep. But as I say, it is very pretty with views out over the Bien Dong. Okay, about 2k in, and we get to the first really lovely viewpoint. There used to be a load of little drink stalls here, but they got rid of them a few years ago. Let's get past these hordes. Yes, there's a lovely view of the bay down here, and you can see, you just make out the train tracks here. It's a fantastic train ride if you do it in the daytime. Okay, high van in that little V up there. Okay, just over halfway up to the second, so the classic viewpoint. The Jets just milling around in the middle of the road, as they like to do. Not so good when there's a truck coming. Yeah, so a bit into the sun, but lovely view down this rocky gully to that little promontory, and then over to Sonchar in the distance. Okay, my personal history with the high van. I have climbed the high van, according to Strava, the cycling data website. If you don't know, I have climbed it. This is my 72nd ascent, 72, and I've probably done 60 from the other side as well. So after Llangollen's Horseshoe Pass, where I live, it is the second most repeated climb I've ever done. Partly because I spend a lot of time here, but also 18 of those efforts were done in one day. And I'll say more about that craziness in a minute. Fellow cyclists, all right? Doing well. 2/3 of the way up. I'm going to stop at this rock just to get a photo, because it's quite a classic rock with steps in it. Into the sun. Ooh, a bit slippy in cycling shoes. Yeah, great view. Pass up there. Hello, ciao. Okay, so who would be stupid enough to climb the high van 18 times in a day, and why? Well, the first answer is me and Carl, or Carl and I, not making that mistake again. We were stupid enough because we were taking on the classic cycling challenge known as an Everesting. So for those who don't know what Everesting involves repeat climbs, repeat ascents on one climb, any particular climb you choose, until your total accumulated meters of climbing are equivalent to the height of Everest, i.e. 8,848. We took this on with very little research, absolutely zero training, and it was a memorable experience. 24 hours through the night, all day, up and down. One of the hardest things I've ever done. Until 1 year later, having said I'd never do it again, I of course did it again, but on a different climb, and we'll come to that in another video. I've also done this in a race organised by some locals. I think I came first in my age cat. Anyway, when you get to this point, two and a bit K to go, you can see the final hairpin road snaking up. This is go time, as if we weren't going fast enough already. Okay, into the final hairpin. It's got the drone following me, so I've got to be a little bit careful, but it's quite wide here and there's always lots of people. Okay, we'll just get up past this cafe. Okay, this is the final drag up, last 500 meters. Road's collapsed here. That'll add an element of interest when it's busy. I'm not racing though, so I'll just roll in over the line and get a cold drink. Okay, we're at the top of the Haivan Pass. The Haivan Pass is a dividing line, or was a dividing line between kingdoms, and this, well, rebuilt structure is part of the wall that divided the Cham Empire to the north, that way, now known as Hue province, from the, can't remember the other one, but the one from the south, which is Da Nang Way. So this was the dividing line. So a bit of history up here. Okay, we try and get a cold drink. It is busier than I have ever seen it on the Haivan. So I'm going to shelve my plan to do a speedy descent. So I think it'll be a little bit dangerous today. Way too many motorbikes and vehicles and gas trucks and everything else. Okay, let's see what we can get. Bao nhiêu tiền cho mỗi em?
20.
15?
20.
20? 15?
Happy New Year.
New Year. New Year prices. Yeah, never seen it quite this crazy up on the Haivan. Seen some busy days, but either people are on holiday or they're heading back north, I suspect, and they've stopped off. But there's also a big group of British cyclists. Not what I expected to meet on the way up. So 18 cyclists. All right, guys.
It was inspirational.
So there, I don't know, there's some group ride they're doing, but they've got a support vehicle at the top. Makes it easier. Okay, so we're heading down. 9k down the other side. I'm a bit sweaty and it's a little bit chilly up here, but no doubt it'll warm up as we go down. It has recently been repaved, yay, but not properly repaved. Boo. They've kind of patch repaved it, so they've done the worst bits, but of course they've left a few bad bits as well. Anyway, it does make for a faster descent, but I'm not going to go for a really fast one because it's a little bit dangerous with all this traffic. It's a little bit dangerous anyway, so I'll wait for a quieter day and then I'll go for a land speed record on it. Okay, down to Lanco. Almost down. Final bend coming up and then into a quite an incredible view that opens out. We'll see that in a moment. Okay, final bend. Sharp one and then into Lanco. So yeah. Okay, so we've come down the Haivan Pass. As we come down, we meet the train coming. More on the train in a moment. And across the tracks there, and then you see this elevated road over here. This is coming from the more recent tunnel, the Haivan tunnel, the Ham Haivan, coming up and over. So the main highway heading north. Now there's a bypass road as well, the Bakmar road. There's one coming. The fuel tankers are not allowed through the tunnel, so unfortunately they have to come over the pass, and also the pig trucks. And that. Not a pleasant sight. Yeah, the train, I got a fantastic shot a couple of years ago, and again I'll try and insert that here. The train coming around the corner just as I was descending, whipped my camera out and got a really great shot. Very happy with that one. Okay, so we're going to go into what looks like the ocean here, but is actually a big lake, Lanco, and we're going to go all the way around, back, stop for a coffee, and then back up the Haivan Pass. Yeah, so just a little bit more traffic, and then as we get around onto the Lanco Road, we'll get away from the traffic, which will be a very good thing. Okay, so all the way around Lanco, quite a few kilometres round. It's a good little TT track, good little race track. We've done some fast rides around here. Very little traffic, even on a busy day like this, because the main road goes around the other side and then into another tunnel somewhere over there in the mists. And we'll just ride around. We will have to get on the highway for a couple of kilometres, and then we get off it again and get onto the north bank of Lanco. Okay, Lanco famous for one thing, and that is oysters. Xin chào. Oyster farming, and they use these old motorbike tyres. That is the weirdest bit of fishing practice I've ever seen, but it seems to work. And here's the train coming through all the way from Hanoi. Saigon. There's only one real train line in Vietnam, and Vietnam's a long skinny country, like the people, as I always say, very skinny, and there's just one train line going all the way down. Actually it continues north from Hanoi up towards Sapa, but basically there's one line. And I tell you, I have taken it. I took the night train. It was kind of fun. You know, you don't get a lot of sleep, but it's an experience. It makes a change from flying. I like to not fly if possible. There we go, so Haivan back up in the mists, the Ocean Cloud Pass, the Deo Haivan. Yeah, nasty little bit on the highway. Got to show the rough and the smooth, I guess. I have ridden this road all the way back from Hue, and I can tell you that isn't a pleasant experience. There is a bike lane most of the way, but can get very busy. As my good friend Joseph would know, having just ridden 400 kilometers down Highway 1 in a single day, also setting a very nice record. So well done to Joe. I inadvertently called him Jacob in the last video. I don't know why. All I can say is similarly biblical name. Okay, off the highway, AH1, bye-bye, and onto this other side of the Lanco Lake, which wasn't paved a couple of years ago, or it was sporadically paved, but it is now fully paved, which is great. Even though I'm on my gravel bike, so bring on the gravel. Look, there's a whole hill made out of empty oyster shells. Have you ever seen so many oyster shells? This looks like the place for me. Leave my bike, sit down, have a rest, have a coffee. Okay, I've ordered cafe soda, cafe, that's the easy bit, soda, milk, and da is ice, so it's a nice milky coffee. Unfortunately, I forgot to say no straw, and I have learned how to say no straw in beer. Now, whether they understand me, I'd say I have about a 50-50% success rate. I think a lot of the time they do understand, but they think, why wouldn't you have a straw? Everyone has a straw. It's free. Anyway, so I got a straw. So yeah, it's just very strong, Robusta coffee. So yeah, Vietnam's one of the world's biggest coffee producers. I think something like 15% of the world's coffee comes from Vietnam, and 95% of that is Robusta, which is the rocket fuel, the much higher caffeine,
tougher, stronger brew, as the name suggests. Anyway, it works well in Vietnam. It works well with condensed milk and lots of ice.
Okay, so back under the underpass, back up the other side of the Hai Van, over the top, and descend back into Da Nang city. And I think we're gonna go and eat Bun Cha Ka, which is a favourite of mine. I think I have filmed that before, but it was in the previous iteration of On Today's Ride, when I didn't know how to edit and I only had my phone. So this is what I'm calling On Today's Ride version 2.0. was sort of last year that I launched when I was in Bali. Although I was still on the phone then, it was then that I learned how to use iMovie and how to edit movies and sort of edit clips together, etc. And then when I got back into the UK, I got this camera, the Insta 360 Go 3, and that was the real game changer. So if anything, perhaps this is On Today's Ride version 3.0. Who knows? Anyway, back on the pass, there we go, there's the sign, Deo Hai Van. Hai Van Pass is pretty much exactly the same from this side, 9k up, never very steep, fairly easy climb, always a horrible headwind at the top. Okay, about halfway up on some, see this lovely new asphalt, so this is one of the bits they have patched. There were a couple of quite rough bits they, for some bizarre reason, decided not to patch, but hey ho, you take what you can get. It's not that hot. I thought I was going to die on the way up because it is right in the middle of the day. It's nearly 1 p.m. But it's a sort of refreshing 25 degrees. Very nice. We have done this ride later in the year when it gets so hot. And really, if you're not on this climb by 9:30, you're in trouble. Because you're going to be overheating way before the top. Okay, I did stop for a quick cold drink. Got a little bit sweaty by the top. Haven't got a huge amount of water left, but enough to get me down. So back over the Hai Van Pass, beep beep, and into, I'd say, one of the best descents in the world. Certainly one of the best I've ever done. Absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, it's going to be a bit too much traffic to really send it today. But if you like fast, no braking descents, the Hai Van Pass South is definitely one of the best. The last couple of bends, the final one feels like you've got to brake. Your brain is screaming at you to brake, but you can get around it. And then into the corner, make sure no one's behind me. Easy. On this bike, on the gravel bike, it's all much easier. I was going a bit slower this time. Anyway, so round and down, and that's the Hai Van. Time for grub. Okay, a little bit of argy-bargy through town. Find my way through the motorbikes. It's actually, believe it or not, very quiet out still. Okay, everything was looking a little bit closed in town, so I was worried. Bun Cha Ka was closed, but it's not, it's open. Hooray! Okay, very quickly it arrived. So, Bun Cha Ka, Bun Cha Ka. So, bun is the particular type of noodles, the thin noodles. Bun. Cha Ka is sort of fish cakes, and fish cakes doesn't really, it's very hard to describe them. They're unlike anything I've ever had before, but they're nice. They're not too fishy. They're nice texture. So you get some of those. This one, oh, this one's got pumpkin in. Fantastic. Don't always get pumpkin and a bit of cabbage. And the broth is just superb. It's like, it's sweetened with pineapple, I think, but it's sort of slightly sour and sweet and everything else. And then we have all the accompaniments, the best of which is this, which is pickled onions and carrots. This one's got too many carrots, so I'm going to get another one. And then 53 different types of chili. Absolutely superb. One of my favourite Da Nang dishes. Okay, back over the river, back over Dragon Bridge, and then heading home. What a fantastic ride. Hope you enjoyed the Highland Pass. I think it's got to be one of the prettiest coastal passes in the world. Not the hardest, but definitely one of the prettiest. Okay, if you enjoyed the video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, that always helps, and see you all soon on today's ride.